So he continues and he says, Ki harei in Kadosh Baruch Hu tzarich la'azer imo b'malachto. Kadosh Baruch Hu did not empower man because he required help in creation or anything, right? History. He doesn't need us. That's one of the most important principles of Hashgacha Pratis, is that Hashem is perfect. He can do anything. He just has to will it, think about it. He's unlimited power. And he certainly does not require us to be involved in creation. He has involved us in creation for our good. He's giving us the opportunity. And the analogy I always use, for example, it's let's say a mother who decides she's going to bake a cake. And she's done this 1,000 times. She can bake the cake with her eyes, closed, blindfolded. And her little daughter comes along and says, Ima, right, but with a higher voice, right, Ima, can I help you with the cake? And she thinks to herself, well, it'll slow things down a bit perhaps, but you know what? It's a good thing, good chinuch. It's good for her to be involved. So what does she do? She pretends that she needs the help, because if the daughter picks up that she's not necessary, she gets bored. It's meaningless in the end. So the mother will say, it's a good thing you came along and helped me, because just at this time I think to myself, I was short-handed, right? And can you do this? Can you do that? Right? So she becomes a partner in the baking of the cake, and she feels good about herself. The same thing is true about us. We don't have to be involved in the perfection of creation, because Baruch Hu could have made creation perfect from day one. So Mashatala Yitziyasam Minakoich Elapoyel Aidei Adam. What about the fact that Kosh Baruch Hu seems to make it, like we're saying, that he acts like he needs us, that if we don't do something, a certain potential will not be actualized. Right. Okay? Because that it's only because that is the ultimate good that Hakadosh Baruch Hu is giving to us, the opportunity to act on His behalf to actualize good. He doesn't need us for this, but He wants us for this, for our good. He
wants us to think that He needs us.
That it's meaningful, that we're making a difference.
Yeah.
We're making a difference. And the way to come to the actual, final rectification of creation, the main and true fulfillment of the purpose of Maaseh Bereshis, which is what he calls the sort of Achdus HaShlema, the complete unity of everything. Asher be'aynu, as he says elsewhere, right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu could simply say, "Here I am," like he did by Mitzrayim and Yamsu. Paro says, "Mi Hashem." HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, "I'll show you." He sees his fantastic miracles, but he never talked to Paro himself. He never revealed himself. Someone was just saying the other day that you can't prove God to anybody. And the truth is you can't, because we're not supposed to, but you can prove God to yourself. You can become 100% believer through yourself, but I can't prove it to you because you have to choose it for yourself. You have to come to this conclusion your own. But that's only these days. That's before Hester Pani. Once upon a time, God spoke to man. People had prophecy. You could prove God to the world because you could see miracles taking place that made it evident He was here, so you could actually prove it 100%. So it's just today like that. But the point is that the best thing in the world, in many respects today, is a more powerful opportunity than, let's say, 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, the time of Nevuah, back at the time of prophecy, because there was a lot of Nebuchadnezzar believed in God, right? Josephus writes that people believed that the Bible came from Mount Sinai from God in his time. He says you could go see the pillar of salt that Lot's wife became, right? Yeah, he writes it. And so what is he telling you? And he was a secular Jew. I don't think he was religious at all. And he was a Roman. He lived as a Roman. He was a trusted Roman, even though he was Jewish. But he says all these things, and that's in Roman times. Christianity and Islam, the two biggest religions in the world today, are based upon the idea that God spoke to Moshe and the Jewish people at Mount Sinai. You take that away, everything goes away. Both religions, all religions, pretty much in the end, they're all based upon this idea. It's more of a recent thing in the last couple hundreds of years that we came to this reality. But in a sense, that this is the most powerful opportunity because if you can, You know, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere, right? Meaning that if you can show the reality of God, if you can Mekad Hashem Shemayim, and through your actions make it clear that God is in the world today, He's alive and well, it's incredible the schar that you would get because you're doing something. You know, you're bringing light in the darkest corners of history, in a sense, especially because of science and physics and things like that, where people have so much to turn to for explanations of why the world is the way it is today. So that's why today, in a sense, the Kiddush Hashem is such a powerful opportunity. But that's what he's saying, that's the ultimate fulfillment of Ma'aseh Bereishis, when man himself is the reason for the Gilui of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the revelation of Hashem in history. Okay? Because it goes from himself right to himself. That's the unification, because when you do something, you unify with it. Right? There's an idea of I own that thing. You know, a person, for example, learns an idea for the first time. It's strange to him. It's outside of him. In fact, the word bina, which is understanding, comes from the word bain, right? Which means there's a gap between us that I'm trying to lessen through the bina. I'm reducing it to I can relate to it. But what's really going on is, if you could see it in a physical sense, the idea is out there somewhere. When you first hear an idea, it's like a stranger. There's no connection. You can see it, but you're not connected. You learn about the person, you have a conversation with the person, and all of a sudden they feel closer to you. And if you become really close, there's a concept called soul brothers. I don't mean, the more New Orleans type of, I'm talking about people who feel like Yonason and David Melech were soul brothers. On the level of soul, they felt like they were one. To the point that they were unified, and this is the ultimate reality. Deya bina v'haskel, we say in Shemona Esrei, or Chachma bina das, as other nusach, basically the idea of going from abstract to less abstract to become unified with the concept. So when you become the source of the revelation of God, you own it. You become one with it.
You become the source of the revelation?
Yeah, you do something either through learning, you learn an idea, an insight, or you teach something, or you have an experience, or you create an experience that somehow says to the world, the God's in the world.
Right.
He's here, right? And just the very fact you wear kippah in public, the fact you make a bracha, makes a statement. People may mock you, but there's still a statement being made. That's a gilui of a Kadosh Baruch Hu in the world. Not everybody has to acknowledge the gilui for it to be a gilui. But if somehow they come around and say, wow, that's amazing, I never thought about that before, and I'm impressed, and maybe I'll think about this idea about God and all that, even bigger gilui in the end. But when you do that, you haven't just done something and left a mark in the world, you become connected to it. Das, das, which is, really Torah knowledge, so it means any knowledge really, das, right? But das Elokim specifically, right, which is what Torah is supposed to be, is called the koich hachibur. It's the koich of unifying. So you become one with the concept. So if, for example, you invest yourself in anything, you find this absorption process taking place, where eventually you walk around. That's your whole idea. Your whole world's like that. Your whole reality.
So this is really like we talked about yesterday or 2 days ago. Your free will. That is exercising your free will.
That's what the free will's for.
That's what it's for.
This is what he's saying.
Right.
This is why we were given free will. We're talking about choosing between good and bad.
Right. Choose life.
Right. Choosing life and all that. But what we're really choosing by all of that is to reveal God in the world.
Right.
Because that's ultimately what Ma'aseh Bereishis is for.
That's life.
As we said before, Ma'aseh Bereishis, or history in the last couple of thousand years, is one big massive game of hide and go seek, where God is hidden.
Right.
We're supposed to go seek Him out and then Megala Him, reveal Him. Right? We get very busy with our everyday lives and doing this and doing that. Even from people, religious people, get caught up in the habitual aspect of it, and they forget the whole reason why we're doing this is to reveal God in the world, which is what Shabbos and Shemitah and all these things are supposed to remind us about, because they say, stop, take a breath, right, and remind yourself of what you're doing here. When you're having Shemitah, you're having Shemona Esrei. What are you doing? You're not just going shopping, and asking for you're here's my chance right now to draw the reality of God into the world. So what does it look like when people see people daven, very habitually and matter of factly, and they don't have much kavana? What does it make people think about God? Not a whole lot. What does it make you think about God?
It has a reverse effect.
Exactly,
actually.
a reverse effect in the end.
Reverse effect.
And this, he's saying, the whole point is that free will is for this purpose, to act as a conduit
Right.
for God in this world.